Money doesn't disappear. It just silently migrates away from people who ignore reality. Fact 1. The illusion of later. Most people destroy their finances with one simple, universal bug in their mental software. They think they have time. Not money, time. I'll start saving later. I'll invest later. I'll get serious later. Later becomes a religion, a belief system, a lifestyle, and eventually, a trap. Here's the uncomfortable truth. The universe doesn't reward intentions, only execution. I've watched people treat time like a renewable resource, as if the clock is politely waiting for them to get their discipline together. It's not. Compounding doesn't care about your motivation level, your mood, or your excuses. It rewards the person who starts early, not the one who starts perfectly. The difference between someone who ends up wealthy and someone who ends up frustrated is usually 5 years. The 5 years one person spent acting while the other spent planning to act. The people who win financially aren't smarter. They're just too impatient to wait for later. And ironically, that impatience gives them a future everyone else will wish they'd started sooner. Fact 2. When your environment spends your money for you. People love to believe they make independent financial decisions. Cute. In reality, your environment is spending your money long before you ever touch your wallet. Hang around people who treat debt like oxygen? Congratulations, you'll start inhaling it too. Surround yourself with friends who think a weekend without treating themselves is a human rights violation? Say goodbye to your savings. Here's the real glitch. Humans don't rise to their financial goals. They sink to their financial surroundings. I've met incredibly intelligent people who could build rockets but still couldn't resist the gravitational pull of a lifestyle they copied from the 5 broke friends standing next to them. It wasn't logic, it was proximity. Your environment is a subscription service you pay for unconsciously. Every conversation, every habit, every social norm either compounds your future or erodes it. You don't become wealthy by forcing discipline. You become wealthy by designing a space where stupidity can't survive. Change your environment, and your bank account will update automatically. Fact 3. The red flag of passive success. A lot of people wait for success to just happen, like prosperity is some cosmic rainfall, and all they need to do is hold out a bucket. They treat wealth like weather, random, unpredictable. Maybe one day it just hits them. That's why they chase miracle opportunities, shortcuts, and magic formulas that only work for people selling them. Here's the truth almost no one wants to swallow. Success is not passive. The universe doesn't reward wishful thinking. It rewards output. Every person I've ever seen rise fast wasn't lucky. They simply couldn't tolerate stagnation. They executed, iterated, broke things, rebuilt them, and accelerated again. Meanwhile, everyone else was waiting for alignment, confidence, a sign, or some other excuse that sounds spiritual but is really procrastination in a tuxedo. If you're hoping for success to arrive on its own, that is the red flag. Real growth is self-generated, not delivered. The moment you stop waiting is the moment you start compounding. Fact 4. Your emotions are the most expensive things you own. People think their biggest financial enemy is inflation or taxes. Wrong. It's emotional decision-making. Every major money disaster starts with a feeling disguised as a strategy. Impulse, fear, jealousy, ego. Pick one. I've watched people sabotage their financial future just because someone else bought a nicer car. They don't even want the car. What they want is not feeling behind. And that insecurity costs more than any luxury item. Your emotions will trick you into competing in games you don't need to win, buying things you don't actually want, and chasing validation from people you don't even like. They can vaporize years of progress in seconds. The wealthy aren't emotionless robots. They just learned one painful truth early. You can feel your emotions, but you never let them hold the steering wheel. The moment your feelings decide your finances, consider your money already gone. Fact 5. Ignoring small leaks creates big sinkholes. People underestimate how dangerous, harmless little expenses really are. They think the $5 coffee is the problem. It's not. The real danger is the mindset behind it, the belief that small leaks don't matter. Here's the glitch. Tiny habits compound just as brutally as tiny investments. A small leak becomes a medium leak, and eventually you're sinking like you punched a hole in your own financial lifeboat. Not because of one big mistake, but but because of 100 ignored ones. I've seen people lose fortunes not from extravagance, but from repeating micro-stupidities every day. And the worst part? They don't even notice the downward drift until they hit the bottom and start blaming the economy, their boss, or destiny. Wealth isn't built by avoiding giant disasters. It's built by eliminating the daily, silent inefficiencies that slowly eat your potential. Control the small and the big takes care of itself. Ignore the small and the big becomes unmanageable. Fact 6. The people who mean well but kill your momentum. One of the most dangerous financial red flags doesn't look dangerous at all. It looks friendly. It looks supportive. It looks like someone who just wants you to be realistic. These people aren't villains. They're comfort merchants. And comfort is lethal to growth. They'll tell you not to take risks, not to dream too loudly, not to push too hard. They'll say things like, "Don't burn yourself out," or "You're already doing great," while you know you're operating at 30% of your potential. They think they're protecting you. In reality, they're protecting their own insecurities. Every time you level up, you force them to confront the fact that they aren't leveling up. So they slow you down, gently, with advice that sounds wise but reeks of fear. If you want to know your future income, look at the people who advise you. Some people lift you, some people limit you, and the ones who limit you always sound the most reasonable. Fact 7. Mistaking activity for progress. Most people are busy, not productive. Their calendar is full, but their results are empty. They confuse motion with momentum, like a hamster sprinting at world record speed on a wheel, bragging about how insanely productive they've been. I've seen brilliant individuals drown in tasks that don't matter, optimizing things that don't move the needle, and checking boxes that make them feel accomplished but leave them exactly where they started. It's a full-time job maintaining the illusion of progress. Real progress is uncomfortable, focused, and often annoyingly simple. It's not 30 micro tasks. It's one decisive, high-impact action repeated consistently. If your workday leaves you exhausted, but your life isn't improving, you're not progressing, you're performing. And the world doesn't pay performers, it pays problem solvers. The moment you stop doing things that look impressive and start doing things that create impact, your entire trajectory shifts from busy human to actual force of nature. Fact 8. The red flag of "I deserve it." Spending. The most expensive sentence in the world is 3 words long: "I deserve it." It's the battle cry of people who feel emotionally under-rewarded and financially overconfident. Here's the pattern: a tough week, some stress, maybe a minor victory. Suddenly, "I deserve it" becomes the justification for purchases that make your bank account look like a crime scene. You're not buying the item, you're buying relief, validation, escape. But rewards without discipline become punishment. The happiest, wealthiest people I know reward themselves after they build systems, not moods. They don't need emotional gifts because their life structure already rewards them daily. The "I deserve it" mindset is a red flag because it creates a spending loop where your emotional regulation depends on consumption. And that's how debt becomes therapy, shopping becomes coping, and your financial goals become collateral damage. If you want true freedom, reward yourself with results, not receipts. Fact 9. Confusing confidence with competence. A huge financial red flag is when someone talks like a billionaire but acts like a tourist in their own life. They speak with absolute certainty about investments they don't understand, businesses they've never built, and risks they've never taken. It's the classic confidence to competence mismatch. Loud optimism, zero execution. I've met people who could deliver a motivational speech on wealth creation but couldn't survive 1 week without a paycheck. They know the buzzwords: passive income, diversification, scaling, yet their bank account looks like it's been through a war. Confidence without competence is dangerous because it blinds you to your own weaknesses. You stop learning, you stop listening, you start believing your imagination is a strategy. Successful people stay students long after they win. Unsuccessful people think they're experts long before they even start. If someone's confidence is louder than their results, run. They don't want growth. They want applause. Fact 10. The habit of solving the wrong problems. One of the most costly patterns you'll see is people obsessing over tiny issues while ignoring the real threats. They're optimizing minor expenses, clipping coupons, and saving pennies while quietly losing thousands through bad decisions, bad relationships, and bad priorities. It's like polishing the mirrors on a sinking ship. Sure, the reflections look cleaner, but you're still going under. People love easy problems because they feel solvable. Hard problems? Not so much. It's easier to reorganize your workspace for the fifth time than it is to confront the fact that your income hasn't grown in 5 years. Every financially successful person I know mastered this. You fix the root, not the leaves. You identify the single bottleneck that's destroying your progress and you eliminate it with surgical precision. If someone spends more time avoiding the real issue than solving it, that's not a person. That's a financial liability. Fact 11. The opportunity addiction. That leads to nowhere. Some people don't commit to one path because they're addicted to the high of new opportunities. Every week, they announce a new business idea, a new side hustle, a new breakthrough that will change everything. And yet, nothing ever changes. They're not building a future. They're collecting fantasies. They treat opportunities like trading cards, fun to look at, worthless in real life. Here's the truth. Opportunities don't matter. Execution does. One focused, boring, unsexy plan beats 50 exciting ideas every time. Wealth isn't built by chasing the next shiny thing. It's built by turning one thing into something real. People who chase everything ultimately catch nothing. And if you stay around them long enough, they'll drag you into their vortex of enthusiasm without action. The red flag is simple. If someone gets excited about possibilities but allergic to commitment, you're watching a future that never happens. Fact 12. The success without sacrifice. Fantasy. A massive red flag is when someone wants success but refuses to pay the entry fee. They want the outcome, not the process. The glory, not the grind. They talk about balance, alignment, and manifestation as if the universe is a vending machine where you insert positive vibes and out comes a Ferrari. But here's the truth every serious builder learns. Success is inconvenient. It demands sacrifice, discipline, and obsession long before it pays you back. Anyone selling you ease is selling you fiction. The people who make it aren't superhuman. They're just willing to endure discomfort for longer than the average person can tolerate. If someone flinches the moment things stop being fun, they're not on a path. They're on a hobby. And hobbies don't compound. The fantasy of effortless success is comforting but deadly. You don't rise by avoiding effort. You rise by outlasting everyone who quits when the real work begins. Fact 13. When advice is really projection. Pay close attention to people who give financial advice they don't live by. Most advice is actually autobiography. Someone afraid of risk will warn you against every bold move. Someone who failed will tell you success is luck. Someone who never tried will insist it's impossible. People project their limitations onto you as if they're passing down sacred wisdom instead of personal fear. And they always sound convincing because their advice is wrapped in caution and disguised as protection. But high performers know the truth. If you want to grow, you filter advice through results, not tone. Never take guidance from someone stuck where you don't want to be. The red flag isn't the advice, it's the alignment. If someone's life is the opposite of what you want, their advice becomes a warning, not a roadmap. Listen to results, not insecurities. Fact 14. The illusion of being too early or too late. People love using time as an excuse to do nothing. It's too early to start. It's too late to start. It's funny, these phrases contradict each other, yet somehow both magically stop people from taking action. The truth? Timing is rarely the problem. Hesitation is. Every successful person I've met wasn't early or lucky. They were simply willing to start when everyone else was overthinking calendars. Starting early gives you compounding. Starting late gives you urgency. Both work. But waiting gives you regret dressed up as logic. The idea that timing needs to be perfect is a mental trap that keeps millions stuck in the planning stage while others lap them with imperfect execution. The only bad time to start is after someone else already built the life you wanted, simply because you were scheduling your courage. Fact 15. The red flag of comfort-first decision-making. If someone always chooses the comfortable option, their financial future is already decided, and not in the good way. Comfort feels nice in the moment, But long-term, it's a silent assassin. It kills ambition, destroys discipline, and blinds you to the opportunities that only exist outside your safe zone. Comfort is addictive because it removes friction. But friction is what shapes you. Every ambitious person understands that discomfort is the training ground for growth, mentally, financially, and strategically. People who avoid discomfort avoid evolution. They stay in the same job, the same habits, the same income bracket, the same mediocre loop while telling themselves they're being smart or stable. The real stability lies in becoming someone capable, not someone comfortable. If comfort is their priority, stagnation is their destiny. And if you follow that pattern, it becomes yours too. Fact 16. Surrounding yourself with people who celebrate the wrong things. One of the most subtle, dangerous financial red flags is a social circle that celebrates outcomes instead of discipline. They applaud purchases, not progress, vacations, not victories. A new watch gets more admiration than a new skill. A flashy photo gets more praise than a quiet year of work. This environment rewires your brain. You start chasing applause instead of improvement. You begin optimizing for things that look successful instead of things that create success. And slowly, without noticing, you become addicted to external validation, the most expensive addiction on earth. People who celebrate growth keep you grounded. People who celebrate consumption keep you broke. If your circle praises the wrong things, your future gets shaped by their limitations, not your potential. Choose people who clap when you win, not just when you spend. Fact 17. Focusing on speed instead of direction. Everyone wants to go fast. No one asks where they're going. That's how people sprint at full speed into financial dead ends. They want fast money, fast success, fast results. And in their rush, they skip the one thing that actually matters: direction. I've seen people work themselves into exhaustion building careers they don't want, businesses they don't understand, and lifestyles they can't afford, all because they were obsessed with acceleration, not navigation. Speed without clarity doesn't get you ahead, it gets you lost faster. The people who crush life aren't the fastest, they're the most aligned. They know their destination, so every step compounds. They don't waste energy on detours disguised as opportunities. Before you go fast, decide where forward actually is. Otherwise, your ambition becomes a treadmill, exhausting, impressive, and completely stationary. Fact 18. Ignoring red flags. Because you don't want the truth. Final fact. The most expensive mistake people make is pretending not to see the warning signs. In their spending, in their habits, in their relationships, in their opportunities. They ignore red flags because the truth is inconvenient. It challenges their comfort, their identity, their excuses. But ignoring a problem doesn't delete it, it compounds it. The universe charges interest on denial. I've watched people lose years because they didn't want to have one hard conversation. I've watched fortunes vanish because someone didn't want to face their own lack of discipline. Successful people share one trait. They confront reality early, even when it hurts. Unsuccessful people delay reality until it becomes a disaster. The final red flag is simple. If you're scared to look at the truth is already shaping your future. Your future is built on the red flags you choose to ignore. So, which ones are steering your life right now? Tell me the biggest one in the comments.